What is going on, Peep Squad? Let's get this in the frame here. What is going on, Peep Squad? This is the breakdown for The Stand, episode 7, which is called The Walk. I'm sorry this video's a little bit late today. It's my birthday, and so I have a lot going on, but I can just squeeze a little bit to just release this, talk about the show, and edit it, and hopefully get it out on Friday the 29th. We'll have to see how it goes. But yeah, I turned 22 today, so that's cool. You should subscribe because it's my birthday. And also give me money, too. Patreon links in the description for that, so you give me money and stuff. But yeah, so The Stand, we have 2 episodes to go. This is, I like to keep the receipts from the bookstores as the bookmarks. It just adds a little bit of flavor to the whole experience. I don't know why I said flavor, but you know what I meant. It adds to the whole thing. You'd be like, oh, I was on September 57th of September. September 16th, I went to Walmart and I bought the Green Mile. Look at that. That's cool. And yeah, so this isn't even the receipt. This is a coupon for a free cookie at Barnes & Noble Cafe. Where's the camera? There it is. See? It expired August 31st, so 2020. I think I bought this book on like August 4th. I don't remember. But yeah, the coupon the receipt is lost, unfortunately, so that sucks. But yeah, let's talk about the show, man. Let's freaking go. This is the so as I understand it, this is episode 7, which, well, obviously it's episode 7, but there are 9 episodes for the series, and as I understand it, next week episode 8 is technically the end of the book, and episode 9 is a new ending written specifically for the show by Stephen King. So that's completely new territory after that. The whole book will be covered and finished by next week. Anyway, so that's pretty cool. Let's jump into it. The episode opens with Trash Can Man. He is in the desert retrieving a nuclear warhead. And there's been a lot of dialogue throughout the past week on the portrayal of Ezra Miller's Trash Can Man. And take that I'm really interested, that kind of perked my interest a little bit, is someone said that it's more of like an art house character who's intended to be sort of funny and nuanced, and that's definitely possible. I don't know how likely it is that they were going for that, but this person I read it said that was their understanding of it, and either way, this character doesn't really fit with the rest of the characters in the show, which I agree with. But like I said last week, my personal theory is that Ezra Miller saw all the other characters going over the top, and so he decided to go over the top. Unfortunately, he went a little too far. Maybe got people a little offended and stuff. But yeah, we only see him in one scene this episode, which is unfortunate because he's a big part in the book, but he was cut because people were probably offended, test audiences or whatever. But yeah, in this scene, he's retrieving the warhead, and he's not stupid. He's actually quite smart. He knows how to. In this scene, we see him operating like like ropes and harnesses and pulleys and stuff like that. So he understands that. He also understands how to drive because at the end he puts the warhead onto a little like a buggy thing and drives off into the desert. So yeah, so he knows he's not dumb. He's smart. One thing that's interesting, throughout this whole episode, there's a lot of birds, just about, and that's probably Randall Flagg, because in the novel he could turn into a crow, and so in this, I don't think he can turn into a crow, but he can kind of see things through wolves and crows. That's kind of what's implied, although I'm not sure. I was going to say something, but I forgot what it was. Yeah, I remember now. So, I remember last week, Randall Flagg specifically told Trash Can Man to go out and get the warhead. In the novel, he doesn't. Randall Flagg doesn't tell him to do it, and so Trash Can Man just goes out and does it, comes back, and blows up the entirety of Las Vegas. That's how the story ends. But in this, he specifically told him to do that. So it's interesting how that's going to impact the end of the story. Yeah, so basically we cut back to Harold and Nadine in Boulder, Colorado. It's essentially right where the last episode ended. It's basically the same scene is played again. Harold says he's doing this of his own free will, and then he and Nadine blow up the bomb. They set up the bomb, and then they go off to Vegas. And then we cut to Larry and Glenn at the hospital. Larry was out putting out fires, but most of them are done. And then they kind of Larry kind of talks to Glenn about are they going to is there anything left to bury as far as Nick's body goes? And Glenn says they'll bury something, which sucks, but he got blown up. And then so we see that Ray, who throughout this whole series has kind of been Mother Abigail's assistant, I guess. She's always kind of near her and helping her out with stuff. And then so she's chilling out by her hospital bed and waiting for her to recover. And there's kind of a jump scare moment where she sticks her hands out really fast. Mother Abigail grabs Ray and she's like, get everybody. I need to talk to everybody right now because I'm going to die soon. So go get everybody. And so that's what she does. And there's a shot of Mother Abigail, and she is not well. It's not the only time I'm going to say this episode, so keep an eye out for that phrase. But she is not doing very well. For some reason, I wrote down Fran and Stu, and I can't remember why. Anyway, so once the whole committee is there, she talks about how she kind of has a pretty half-decent monologue about how she's sinned and pride and all that stuff. I'm not a huge fan of Whoopi Goldberg's portrayal, but it's not bad, okay? And she's like, well, now that Nick's dead, now that I'm going to die, Stu's the leader. And he's like, well, where am I leading them to? She said, you're going to lead them to the Dark Man's Kingdom in Vegas. You're going to leave right now. You're going to go on foot. Don't pack anything except the clothes you're wearing and just leave right now. And she says, one will fall along. I think her words in this show are, one will not see the journey to its end. In the novel, she says one will fall along the way, implying death, although it's actually the opposite. But in this show, she says one will not see the journey to its end, which doesn't necessarily imply death at all. It just means that one will not see the journey to its end. And there's sort of a symbolic moment when Mother Abigail dies, the candle goes out. And then we catch up with Nadine and Harold on the road. And so in the original miniseries, as well as the novel, this scene plays out quite a bit differently. Randall Flagg just shows up on the road right in front of Harold, and so Harold brakes really fast and then falls off a cliff. And whereas in this, it's Nadine who speeds up really fast and then slows down, and so Harold doesn't have time to keep up, and then he hits the railing and falls off the cliff. Same effect, but different execution. He gets impaled through like the shoulder area by a stick, and he breaks his leg, and it's just not a good look. And then Nadine says, "You were never supposed to make it. You're just supposed to die, and goodbye." And so he shoots her, but he misses, and then she leaves. Here's the stupid thing, though. Then the next scene, Mother Abigail said, "You have to leave right now and just go." That was at nighttime. And we're here the next day at Stu and Fran's. They haven't left yet. And you can tell it's daytime because it's light outside. Whereas when Mother Abigail said go right now, it was dark outside. So that's really stupid. They talk about how like they do believe that Mother Abigail spoke for God. And this is dumb. I talked about this last week, but Stu is like, "Oh, you were right about Harold this whole time, Franny. You're so great." It's BS because she was just suspicious, and I think that Stu gave Harold the benefit of the doubt, and even though he was wrong, I still believe in those circumstances it was the right thing to do. You shouldn't just assume people are bad. Even if they do turn out bad, you have to give them you have to give them a chance. You know, you can't just assume people are evil. And I know it's a TV show and Harold's bad, but in the novel, Harold's character is a lot more nuanced and there's a lot more layers to it. Whereas this show, it portrays him a lot more like Henry Bowers from It, where he's just pure evil. But in the novel, he's a lot more troubled, and he actually tries to be good at some point, although he doesn't in the end. Fran makes Stu promise that he will make it back, and he says, "I will try to make it back." And then Larry says goodbye to Joe, gives him the guitar, and Fran takes the picture of them, which is the thumbnail of this video because I like it so much. It's symbolic. It was the four of them: Ray, Larry, Glenn, and Stu, and Kojak. That's 5 technically. Took the picture of all 5 of them. And they start walking, and Larry's like, well, and after they go walking for a little bit, Larry's like, I've been through Utah and there's nothing. And I've been through Utah too and there's nothing. But I just think those desert region of like New Mexico, a little bit Colorado, Nevada, Utah, Arizona, that's just really beautiful. Just the sand and just, I like the mountains and stuff. It's great. I love it. Oh, wait. This is really dumb. This is the show's attempt at making a joke, right? Larry's like, do we know how we're going to get water? And everyone looks at Ray, and she's like, you think because I'm a Native American I know how to get water? Like, well, do you? It's like, of course I do. That's really stupid. It reminds me of that moment in episode 4 when Dana's like, you want me to go there and die? Yeah, I'll sign up. It's just stupid stuff that no one would actually do. It's just stupid. And then, so, this is a little reference to the novel. When Harold he's dying there, he's eating payday. And in the novel, Harold is actually a chunky boy, whereas in the show, he's skinny. But he ate a lot of payday, and so if you remember in episode 2, Larry hands Harold a gift, and that was a payday bar because every time Larry saw Harold's signs throughout the country, there was always a payday wrapper nearby, and so Larry knew, hey, this guy likes paydays, and so that's a little reference to that. He's eating payday. And then he writes his final word, and we'll see that a little bit later on in the episode. And then they're talking about kind of what God wants, and we're just doing what God wants. Mother Abigail would never send us to get murdered. We know that what God wants is the right thing, and it's unknown to us, but we know that it has our best. God has our best interests in mind. I'm going to turn the lights on because it's getting a little dark outside. There. How you like that? Okay. And then the 4 of them meet up with... Can we move that because the glare's really bad? The 4 of them meet up. They don't meet up. They see... the vultures swarming Harold. Oh, I guess after he wrote it, he did kill himself. Reflexes, baby. After he wrote his final word, he did shoot himself in the mouth, and it does show that. Because now they see vultures like, whoa, they must have got something big, and they see Harold's bike, and they're like, oh no. Oh, wait. I'm getting ahead of myself here. This is the part where Harold kills himself. Because the vultures are swarming Harold's body before he dies because he's all bloody and his lips are really chapped and nasty, and he doesn't look well. The second time, just one more time. Keep an eye out for that phrase. So then he shoots himself with a gun that he has in his jacket. And then there's a bit of a walking montage, which is kind of cool. It shows him just walking through the different climates, and there's like mountains and stuff and stuff. It's cool. There's a lot of crows, again, throughout this whole episode, but in this montage specifically, there's a lot of crows. One sign is funny is because, I don't remember what it said, but one of the signs says laughter, like a road sign that says laughter on it, and someone put an S in front of it to say slaughter, which is just kind of a funny joke that I enjoyed. I like that joke. This transition is really crazy because there's like a dead body and it kind of zooms in through the eye and then out again. It's wild. Eventually they find Harold's body, and Larry does the right thing by putting a he's putting his jacket on top, covering the dead. But Larry's like, he led me across the country. I know he was ultimately bad, but he does do some right things. Which it reminds me of a Stephen King quote: "How the mass murderers do help the old women cross the street." Ultimately, what that means is that there's not one person who is purely good or purely evil, except for Jesus, who's pure good, I guess. Like, there's nobody that's 100% good or bad. We're all kind of on this spectrum, and we all make good choices and bad choices, and that's just part of being human. And so Larry's just kind of helping Harold, just kind of giving back to Harold because he helped him get to Boulder, right? Anyway, so yeah, this dead body effects is actually really, really cool. Unlike last week's where it was not good, Bobby Terry's body looked very bad. The effects were bad. These effects are good, but the effects are very well and good and professional. It's disgusting. Obviously, I'm not saying I'm into dead bodies. I'm just saying I'm into filmmaking, and props to you people. You made a pretty good dead body. And then Larry reads his note, and then Harold sort of narrates it, and he talks about how when they were kids, the sand pit, and he jumps down. The other kids jumped down the sand pit, but he didn't because he was too scared, and how maybe if he had been able to jump down the sand pit, maybe he hadn't been in the situation he is now. I'm not sure how the two have anything to do with it, but ultimately he signs off by using his Boulder name, which is Hawk. Cool. And then we cut to Nadine in the desert. She's just cruising around on her little bike thing, and she stops because she sees Flag, right? And there's like these white rose petals that are kind of leading into just kind of leading her somewhere off into the desert. And as she follows them, it's her image, like she's still in the desert because there's like sand and stuff, but it looks like she's in Randall Flagg's penthouse. But she's not really there, right? And then there's a crazy, then there's like a sex scene. And that's cool because there's a sex scene and we get to see Alexander Skarsgård's butt. So if you're into that, cool. If not, sorry. I don't know, but the butt's a butt, right? And as they're going at it, she's like, something's not right. But then he just keeps going and she starts screaming, which is a little bit weird, screaming during sex. And then Randall Flagg turns like this burnt man, like Anakin Skywalker looking dude at the end of Revenge of the Sith. Anyway, we cut back to the four. They're walking and there's this massive, like a valley through the middle of the road. They have to go down through it and up because they can't go around it, it's too long. And so they go down the one side, no problems, right? They go up the other side, Kojak makes it, Larry makes it, Ray makes it, Ray is her name, I forgot it for a second. And then Glenn almost falls, but he's caught by Stu, and then Stu barely makes it up, but then the road gives, he falls down, he breaks his leg, right? Kind of mirroring Harold in a way. They help him, they patch up his leg, and then after they're finished, Stu's like, you should probably go on and leave me here. He quotes Psalm 23, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. There's a lot more to it than that, but they just quote that part. And then Stu's like, Larry, you're in charge, which is only for like a couple minutes because then they get hauled off later on. Like, literally. Glenn gives Stu pain pills. He's like, you just take these for your pain, and wink, wink, 2 or 3, 3 or 4 of these at a time will be fatal, if you know what I'm saying. And so then he leaves. And then we cut back to Nadine and Randall Flagg in the desert. And this part kind of reminds me of that I think it's a deodorant commercial with Jared Leto, Gucci Guilty. And there's like just like weird music and everyone's dressed up super cool and there's like cars and stuff. Reminds me of that kind of commercial. I don't know what that is. And then so Nadine is sort of like having like weird pains. And then this is interesting because there's like Randall Flagg carved his initials into her leg, it looks like, which sucks. And at this point, her hair is now white. It was blonde earlier, but now it's white. In the book, it started out black, but after they had sex, it turned white. which kind of symbolizes that bad things happened. All the pigment, he drained the pigment out of her hair, basically. And this is pretty much the next. This is the next scene. Stu is in the pit, and Kojak shows up, and Kojak just chills with him. And then in the next scene, it shows Glenn, Larry, and Ray are kind of walking, and Glenn is looking for Kojak, which implies they haven't gone very far, right? And so Larry's probably only been in charge for a couple of minutes, and that's when Lloyd picks him up in a limo. Which is interesting because in the original miniseries and in the novel, they run into the Border Patrol. So they basically make it all the way to Vegas, and they get picked up by the border agents. In this, Lloyd basically comes out, picks him up, and then drives him back to Vegas. It's pretty a far ways out because when they get back to Vegas, it's nighttime. And so Lloyd's like, hey, my boss told me the exact second you guys would be here, so we arrived on time to pick you up. Alright, and then finally let's end the episode out. They arrived in Vegas, and this depiction of Vegas is very, very different from the other depictions we've seen in this show, because normally it just seems like just crazy crime and just sex and violence everywhere, right? But this, it seems very militaristic. There's slaves. We haven't seen any slaves up to this point. They've constructing statues, and there's like every screen is showing Randall Flagg's face, and it's like propaganda basically. And they drive past one of the casinos, and there's this, I think it's like a huge wolf. It's bigger than normal wolves should be. And Nadine greets them at the casino, and she is not well. That's the third time I said that. She's not well. She's really thin, and her face is like weird, splotchy, and her belly's like, it's all weird, man. This is the part that makes me very upset. In the background, they're playing Baby Can You Dig Your Man, but we haven't heard the full song yet. I want that song so bad. I want it. Yeah, I want to hear that song, but I haven't heard it yet. So, come on, guys, what are you doing? But overall, it's a good episode. It's not the best, but it's fine. Yeah. Thank you for watching. Make sure to subscribe. And we have a new podcast coming out in a couple of days. It may be out already. I'm not sure. But yeah, so that's going to be in the description below. Also, our Facebook page, Instagram page, Patreon if you want to contribute because it's my birthday, and Twitter if you want to contact the show directly. I will see you tomorrow with the WandaVision breakdown, and then I believe the day after that we have another video coming out too, so we're just popping these babies out all the time. It's crazy. I will see you later. Peace out.